Welcome to another edition of the SoCal Prep Report. I'm Rich Estrella along with Bob Gibson. Happy you joined us tonight. And Bob, we are at that crucial, DEFCON 5 for about 200 teams right now. Playoff time is here.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Christmas is coming, but this is playoff football. What's better than playoff football?
Playoff basketball is better than playoff football.
No, not a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Not a chance.
All right.
Football's always king.
Let's take a look at our social media there. You can get us on the following SoCal Prep Report on Facebook. You got the Twitter. You got Instagram. What's that last one, Bob, on the end?
Oh, that's YouTube.
YouTube. You got us on YouTube, too, so check it
YouTube.
out.
I spend way too much time wasting
We're
time
there,
on
and I don't
that
even
one.
know what it is,
Well, if you're wasting time like I do on YouTube, get on there and check out some of the stuff we're doing.
All right, the top 10, as we know it in the Southern section, is pretty much done because the playoffs are here. People are going to be dropping out now, and it's not fair just because they got beat to kick them out of the top 10 because everybody's playing everybody now, and it's crazy. All right, let's take a look at the final Southern section top 10. Well, final until the end of the season, Bob. We'll make something up at the end.
Yeah, at the end, we'll see how this all shakes out, but it could look just like this again.
The funny thing is the top 4 teams in our top 10 are all in the national top 15. Every single one. Corona moved up this week, and we'll be talking about that later on in the show. But for the local scene here in Southern California, Mater Dei, Corona Centennial. Matter of fact, they end up 1-2 in the Division I parents, which we're going to see shortly. And then Bosco Mission Viejo. Man, this thing's going to be crazy this year, Bob. I'm looking so forward to it.
I'm looking forward to seeing what St. John Bosco team we see in the playoffs. They're missing a couple of players, including they're trying to get back Real Mitchell. They're all due over the quarterback. Yeah. Exactly. So we're going to see, is Bosco a team to be reckoned with in the postseason, or are they going to fall short this year because they're down bodies?
They're going to fall short. They won last year. They can't win every year. Come on, you know how tough that is. All right, Upland, Santa Margarita, Rancho Cucamonga. Now, Bob had a big problem with Santa Margarita being ranked under Jay Serra because they did lose to him head-to-head, albeit by a couple points, Bob. You're probably right. So this week, the girls adjusted it, and now we have Santa Margarita number 6 and Cucamonga 7. Jay Serra, San Clemente, and Long Beach Poly. Don't take the graphic away just yet, Bob. What do you got to say?
We'll look at the D1 bracket a little bit, but if I was scared of anybody in that bracket other than Mater Dei, of course, I would be scared of Santa Margarita. They could wreck the whole thing for a lot of teams with better records than they have. Santa Margarita right now, one of the hottest teams going into these playoffs.
The only 2 teams that shouldn't be scared in this whole mix is Corona and Mater Dei until the last week when they meet in the championship, because I think that's where they're going to go.
I think that will be the championship.
This whole thing's a mess right now. We're going to talk about how things are crazy right now. All right, that's your final look at the top 10. You got any complaints?
Send them to Allison.
Address them to Allison.
Right.
Absolutely.
She's
in charge of the top 10 here in the Southern section, that is. All right, Bob, it's what everybody's been waiting for. Yep. Let's go to the brackets and take a look at got 13 to go through, man. It's going to take up the whole show and then some. But let's go to Texas, Bob, and this is how they come out and they break out for games down there.
Love this.
With the American flag, every player. What school was that? The Sachis Mustangs. They come running out with everybody had an American flag, and just with all the stupid protests now that are trickling down to the young kids, this is what I like to see right here, and it's a good way to break out the brackets, Bob. These guys are all excited. A lot of energy in that stadium, a lot of positive stuff as we see.
Absolutely.
Once again.
We're not just saluting one flag, we're saluting all these flags. Look at this. They're going to make sure everybody in the stadium can see an American flag, and they're going to do their best to make sure everybody's saluting that flag, which everybody should be doing.
Absolutely, especially at the prep level, man. Learn it right. Learn your manners, brother.
That's right.
Bracket number 1, let's have a look, and this is the one, man. This is where the national championship is going through Southern California. Let's take a look. Well, we'll take a look forward then, Bob.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm not Bosco, San Clemente, Rancho Cucamonga, Santa Margarita, Serra, and this is actually the lower bracket, by the way, in Division I. This is not the upper bracket. We should go up one and take a look at the upper bracket. We'll come back to this one in a second. But the upper bracket, you got Mater Dei, the top team in the country. Mater Dei is facing Vista Murrieta, and that's just going to be a slaughter, Bob. Actually, you're calling this game.
Yeah, I will be calling that game. Mater Dei, it's at Orange Coast College on Friday night, and Mater Dei should have no problem here. This was actually the first round matchup last year as well. So I guess they liked it so much a year ago where Mater Dei put a thumping on Vista Murrieta. They decided to go ahead and give the Mustangs one more shot at the Monarchs, but it'll end up the same way this year as it did last year. It'll be a lopsided win for Mater Dei. They'll have no problem getting through that first round.
Just so you know already, everybody, the whole Trinity League is in this Division I final, all right? So
yeah, everybody from the Trinity made it, and I tell you, it's Servite,
us.
Mission Viejo. Now that's a tough draw for Servite. In the first round.
Don't blame us. Servite doesn't deserve to be a tough draw. What are you talking about? We'll talk about it. All right, J. Sarah Pauley. J. Sarah's going to be favored, even though Pauley was the Moore League champion. Pauley lost 2 games this year, and after they lost to Sarah, not J. Sarah, but regular Sarah out in the South Bay area. That's it for Pauley, man. They're not going to win. They don't have a chance to win the Division I, in my opinion. Servite Mission Viejo. I don't know why you're saying this is tough for Servite. Servite deserves to play Mission Viejo in the first round.
That's fine. Good enough.
It's a good matchup.
We'll see. Mission Viejo. You're right. Mission Viejo should have no problem here, and then they'll get a second-round matchup, most likely with Chaminade.
Yep.
No,
well,
let's talk. We're going to find out if Chaminade's for real or not, because I don't know. I don't know if Chaminade is the real deal in D1.
Well, Chaminade lost to St. John Bosco 31-17. They're playing Orange Lutheran. Orange Lutheran, of course, lost by 3 touchdowns.
Right.
Chaminade lost by 2 touchdowns. So there's really nothing to grasp it by. So we're going to see what happens with it. There'll be a good one either way. Let's go bottom bracket here. We see Amat, St. John Bosco. Amat lost every pre-league game, got healthy in the Mission League, beat all their stablemates. Now they got Bosco. Bosco's going to annihilate these guys.
Yeah, no, Bosco's on a mission, obviously. Bishop Amat, they played their hearts out this season, but you're right. To get Bosco in the first round,
well,
say goodnight to Bishop Amat. They're going to be done.
What are you guys doing? Let's be frank, man. The Mission League is not the Mission League. You know what I mean? The Mission League is not the Mission League.
Not what it once was.
Almany's in the basement, Notre Dame. All those schools just took a dive this year.
My favorite matchup, San Clemente
and
Rancho Cucamonga. Love that matchup because we know San Clemente was rolling along, lost the South Coast League Championship to Mission Viejo, and we're going to see who the real deal is out of that because Rancho Cucamonga, I don't think has played that level of competition. But you can question San Clemente too. But I think that's a good round 1 matchup. 2 teams that could make a little noise if whoever gets along in that first round.
San Clemente had me sold till Mission Viejo just handled them, and they didn't just beat them; they annihilated those guys. So Rancho Cucamonga, the only loss was to Upland. Upland is in the top is a top 5 school in the southern section. That was a good game. It was a tight game. It was 30-23 when Rancho Cucamonga ended up playing with Upland. I don't know what's going to happen, but it is a good first round matchup. Believe it or not, I think Rancho Cucamonga will probably win the game. I'm just saying, Bob. I know you're Orange County guy, but I just got to tell it like it is, my friend.
I'm gonna take San Clemente.
Can't sugarcoat anything.
I'm gonna take San Clemente in that game. I think they're a little PO'd after that loss to Mission Viejo, and I think they're gonna have a little chip on their shoulder.
Well, they could be upset all they want. They have nobody but to blame but themselves.
Very true. They had their chances. They had their chances.
So we'll keep moving on here. Of course, Santa Margarita, Vista Marietta. Santa Margarita is going to probably win that ball game against Sarah and Corona Centennial. Let's not even talk about it. Let's go to Division II. What do you guys say about Corona Centennial, man? They're number 2 this week in the country. They moved them up.
Right.
ING Academy lost, baby. When you lose this time of year, you fall out. You fall hard.
Can you imagine that final modern-day Centennial? That could not only be for a CIA, number 1 number 2 in the nation. That could be for a national championship.
They're going to have to play that game at the Coliseum, and they're going to be
They
scalping
better do it.
That thing's going to be sold out.
They better do it.
They'll sell 100,000, I'll tell you right now. Division II, Tesoro and Upland. We've talked plenty about Upland. Tesoro used to be pretty good, but Upland's got the number 1 seed. They're undefeated. They went through everybody. Upland just scores points, man. They score points. They're averaging 75 points a game, Bob.
They put points up on anybody. So we'll see. You're right. Tesoro, the South Coast League is not quite as strong all the way down the bracket as it once was. We know the top 2 teams are really good. It used to be a lot stronger, 3 or 4 teams down. It's not quite that way anymore. Tesoro had their run, 6-7 years ago. Not again. And Upland will have no problem.
Bob, here's what I love about the new procedures here, the new way they seat these divisions, because everybody's everywhere. You got Redlands East Valley taking on Cathedral. Those schools are easily 100 miles apart.
Yeah, right.
And you got to play in the first round. Got to play in the first round.
I love some of these first round matchups. And I was talking to co-commissioner or assistant commissioner Glenn Martinez today, in charge of the football aspects of putting this whole bracket, all 13 brackets together. And he said they pour over it and they try to make it so teams don't have to go too far. But at some point, some team's going to get a long bus ride home after losing to somebody in that first round.
They could say that all they want, but one of these days I'm going to lampoon the other section how they do this, all right? Just for fun. Nothing personal, Robbie. Robbie's going to come on our show, by the way.
I'm looking forward to talking to the commissioner.
Yeah, good guy. That. All right, then Edison La Habra. That's a great first-round matchup for these 2 schools. They're both 7-3. Edison with the new head coach, but they have all those players coming back. La Habra's La Habra. I'm taking La Habra on this one, Bob. We got what? We're not going to say what we got, but we got a bet on this game.
I will absolutely
Shoelaces
take it.
were
I will take Edison in this one. I think Edison. I think Edison wins going away.
Right.
How about that?
The whole thing?
No,
All right.
just this game, not the whole thing. Let's not get crazy.
They're both
now.
7-3. La Habra plays a good schedule every year, as does Edison. So these schools are mirror images. It's almost too bad they're playing each other in the first round. Arroyo Grande Oaks Christian round out the upper bracket in Division II. Oaks Christian's just not Oaks Christian anymore,
No,
Bob.
it's not quite what it was
What happened
back
when Bill Riddell
back
was
in the Bill
there?
Riddell days. I was just going to say, no, those days are long gone up there, and all the players they used to be able to bring into that section of town up there.
At one time they had Will Smith's kid playing wide receiver. They had who's the quarterback? I think it was Joe Montana's kid was playing quarterback,
right.
and then
Montana's
Gretzky's kid was playing.
Right. Gretzky's kid was there.
I mean, what's going on up there, man? I mean, geez Louise.
all the big money got sucked into some other areas. I think they're all basketball schools now. I don't
love
know.
it. All right, let's go lower bracket now. Take a look at Division II. Or did we look at the lower bracket yet? Oh, did we? I guess we turn around on this now, Bob. No? All right, there we go.
Right.
All right, Great Oak,
Nice if it was
Valencia.
back here, but I guess.
Hey, Valencia's tough. I don't know if that's Valencia up in NoCal or if that's Valencia out here in Valencia, as you say, in Placencia.
No,
Bob?
that's
Which one is
Valencia in Valencia.
All right, that's up in Ventura. Hey, it's got to be a great game with Great Oak playing, right, Bob? No pun intended on that.
9-1 Valencia and 5-5 Great Oak. Give Great Oak a chance here.
But here's a game that I don't understand. Los Alamitos is #1 league champ, and they got to play Norco in the first round. Are you serious? How'd that happen?
That's a tough draw. Los Al didn't get a lot of respect there.
Whoa.
Did they coming out? They didn't finish the season overly strong, and I think that's got to play into it somewhere. And hey, at some point, you got to put a 1 and 2 together here in this bracket. It's tough to get a 1 and a 2. You've got that in a couple of different places, but Norco could easily pull this one out.
Tough first round for Los Alamitos, man. The odds makers in Vegas got Norco favored in this thing, man. I don't know what to tell you on this one, Bob. All right, we got Notre Dame Calabasas coming up. Calabasas should win that ball game. With all the recruits those guys got and the Notre Dame on a down year, I don't see Calabasas losing.
No, Calabasas, I think, rolls in this opening round.
What would they lead the league again, the CIF again, in recruits, transfers?
Probably did.
Oh,
I think this year broke the record, didn't it?
I think it did.
Didn't they break the record in the Southern Section
It was
this year?
like 50 within 3 years,
Notre Dame's not a bad program. We know.
This year they are.
Well, all right.
Come on, Bob. Why you got to say that?
We know their head coach.
Why you lying?
Won his like
Everybody out there
700
knows what
game
their
or whatever
record
it was
is.
this year. So.
That whole league was under 500 until they started playing each other.
It was tough. It was a tough run. Calabasas, I think, running away here.
La Mirada playing Heritage in the first round. That's a crazy first round matchup. That's all I got to say about it.
We know La Mirada plays that crazy non-league schedule, and then usually rolls through their league.
What do they do? They play the Trinity League, and then they play the South Coast League, and then they get into league, and then they get into the
usually
playoffs
roll
and roll
through their league. That didn't quite happen this year, though. It wasn't as easy as it usually was for La Mirada.
Mayfair went undefeated in the Suburban League. La Mirada owned that league for a long time, and right now it's Mayfair's again, my brother.
Mayfair's, the Monsoons are on top.
They've won a few CIF championships. They're probably 5 or 6,
they have.
so they've been all right. All right, Division III. Let's knock it out. Let's have a look. And Bob, Division III at the very top. We got Charter Oak and Crespi. Now,
how is Crespi in the bracket?
Don't ask me, man. Crespi used to be a story program. They used to be great. I don't know what happened, but they're playing Charter Oak in the first round. That's not an easy game. Lou Ferrar will probably stomp them this time.
Look, Crespi won their opening game of the year. They were 1-0, and then lost the next 9 in a row. So Crespi is a 1-9 team. They are an at-large team in Division III, and sometimes you get it. Hey, it means that Troy Thomas and his crew had to have put the paperwork in. They knew, they applied. They must have known there was a good chance to get an at-large here in this bracket because, let's face it, sometimes these brackets are down a few teams. So even at 1-9, Crespi thought they had a chance, and they're in. They are actually in. You get undefeated Charter Oak in the first round. No chance here for Crespi. It's going to be a one and done, but you're right, a once proud Crespi program. Troy Thomas came from Servite to Crespi. Yeah. What happened to Crespi?
Well, I don't know. I think Troy Thomas is a little bit overrated as a head coach. He went to Servite. Servite had a lot of players. The guy was ripping it up, and then he went to Crespi, where he's an alumni.
He's an alum there. That's true. He went home,
and everything went to it just went downhill quick, my friend. And that's where we're at. Lou Ferrar, don't forget, Charter Oak. He's won over 300 games as a high school head coach. He's got the upper hand in this game. Westlake Palos Verdes on that end of the bracket, followed by Hart Sierra Canyon. That's a good game right there.
I love that matchup. Hart and Sierra Canyon. I think anything could happen there. I think we're going to see some offensive fireworks in that game.
Well, the Harringtons like to throw the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure if they're still at Hart, but I know Hart, Cowboys love throwing the football. Sierra Canyon plays a well-rounded game. Oak Hills, and Rancho Verde round out the upper bracket. Going down to the lower bracket, Division 3, have a look real quick. And Orange County, I believe, is in that lower
Villa
bracket.
Park, El Toro's in the bottom of that.
Yeah.
Villa Park, Deuce and Ansich, 9-1.
Yeah.
Another great year for Villa Park.
What's up?
What do you think? I mean, he grew up with a legend for a father as a head coach.
Yep.
You think he didn't learn a few things along the way? Of course he did.
Well, Mary Nancich, of course, coaches St. Paul in the
Right.
60s, 70s, 80s. Matter of fact, that guy won a CIF championship in every decade he ever coached.
Well, then he goes over to Tustin, of all places,
Yeah.
and then he plays back-to-back
Yeah.
CIF championship games with Tustin. And
Yeah.
Tustin had no history in football before Mary Nancich got over there.
Yeah, Tustin was, just that way here have you put it, Bob. Tustin was bad back in the day until Marion got there, and they tore it up.
Of course, Myron Miller came on the heels of that, and
Yeah.
Tustin got really good again. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, right? You got to talk about the Ansich dynasty
Yep.
continuing at 9-1. But El Toro,
Well-
the Seaview League representing a little bit. The Seaview League not a bad league this year, and 6-4 El Toro is the number 2 team out of that league.
So Deuce Nancich is the head coach at Villa Park, and his brother Visco is the head coach at Whittier.
Right.
Go figure.
So of course it's in the blood. You knew they were going to become coaches.
Lucerna, St. Francis, another weird matchup, but we'll take it. And then Newberry Park versus Citrus Hill. Citrus Hill sounds like some kind of drink, like some kind of after-workout drink, you know what I mean? All right.
Cypress Hill, Citrus Hill.
Yeah. Is this it? Was that the bottom of the bracket on Division 3?
was
Yeah,
it,
heck
yep.
it was, man. I'm already in Division
Oh,
4. I was going to 5
I
already.
can't wait
man.
to get to Division 4. I think there's some good
All
matchups
right, let's
here.
give everybody a quick break, and I believe we're going to go to Carlos Peña right now.
Oh, high desert
right?
time.
High desert time.
Like
That's
it.
right. Let's do it.
Hello, folks, and welcome to this week's SoCal Part Report. I'm Carlos Peña, and I'm bringing you football from the high desert. Tonight, we have Big Bear facing off with Riverside Prep. Let's take it to the action now. Opening first quarter action. Big Bear strikes first as quarterback Chase Downey hands the ball to number 5, Daniel Jett, 7-0 Big Bear. With less than 3 minutes left, number 4, Troy Davis, gets the ball and runs up the middle, 14-0 Big Bear. Big Bear Chase Dowdy hands the ball to Jesus Castle for the short score, 21-0 Big Bear. 4 minutes later, at the 5-minute mark, quarterback Chase Dowdy sneaks it in for himself, taking the score to 28-0. Near the end of the first half, and Jesus Castle takes it wide and muscles his way in, 35-0 Big Bear at the half. Second half action, and number 23, Nikolai Jaworski takes over with a run up the gut, swinging it wide and close, 42-0 Big Bear. Top of the fourth quarter, and Daniel Jett hands the ball to number 30, Matthew Stillwell, who takes it up the middle, 49-0 Big Bear. Last chance for Riverside Prep, and quarterback Dominic Woods hangs on to the ball as he made a diving effort to get across the end zone for the score, 49-7. Big Bear ends their regular season with a perfect 3-0 league record, 9-1 overall. Big Bear definitely had discipline, poise, and executed basic football with perfection and hustle. Let's take a look at the scores from around the desert. Apple Valley, 42, Hesperia, 7. Burroughs, 22, Sultana, 16. Oak Hills, 49, Serrano, 7. Granite Hills, 28, Adelanto, 24. Silver Valley, 35, Excelsior, 14. Here's how the High Desert finished regular season action. Apple Valley finished their perfect regular season undefeated and snatched all rights to the claim of Mojave River League champs. Burroughs, Oak Hills, Serrano, Sultana, and Hesperia finish up the league. Apple Valley is currently seated at the number 1 spot in Division 10. Silverado, with their one loss early in the season to Apple Valley, will take the Desert Sky League's top spot, followed by Victor Valley, Barstow, Granite Hills, and Adelanto. Silverado is currently seated at the number 2 spot in Division 8. And finally, Big Bear will lay claim to the Cross Valley League champ status as they finish their season 3-0 in league, 9-1 overall. Their only loss was to Aquinas out of San Bernardino in their season opener. Big Bear is currently seated at the number 3 spot behind Santa Ana, who is expected to win that division. Final stats of the season for the High Desert, and we have several representatives holding top 10 spots throughout the southern section. Offensively, Silverado's Levi Taylor and Latavian Staples take the passing and receiving positions in the number 5 spots, and Silver Valley's one-man wrecking crew, Eperu EJ Ane, solely carried the High Desert in top 10 positions in rushing, scoring, and total touchdowns. Other top 10 spots in the southern section. Seth Baker takes the number 1 spot in tackles with 134. Romano Olivares in point after attempts. Deonze Nolan of Silverado, number 3 overall in punt returns. Looking at overall returns, we have 2 spots taken by the High Desert. Bryson Pippen of Burroughs in the #1 spot with 793 total yards, and Deontay Nolan from Silverado at the #9 spot with 586 total return yards. And finally, we have our High Desert MVP for the season, Eteru E.J. Ani, a ranked weak side defensive end. He played just about every position: quarterback, punter, running back, linebacker, defensive end, and kick return. He posted outstanding numbers and is the heart of the team. I had the chance to speak briefly to him, and he's looking forward to moving on to college. He is a very well-spoken young man, humble, and is thankful that he had the chance to represent the High Desert. Look for him at the Polynesian Bowl this year. Congratulations to Itiro, and good luck. Rich, Bob, that concludes my regular season closing report on the High Desert. Next up, playoffs.
All right, thanks, Carlos. How does Carlos know that EJ's a good dude and all that? You don't know.
He
Come
must
on,
have talked
Carlos.
to him. He talked to him.
Come on.
He talked to the
You talked
kid.
to somebody
Yeah,
for
do
a
it.
couple seconds. You don't know. Come on, Bob. All right, thanks a lot, Carlos. We're just busting on you, man. We're just cracking on you right now. Anyways, I wanted to see what life was like on the other side here, so me and Bob switch sides, all right? Okay. All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Division 4. We got to run through these now, Bob. We're going to be up on the time, all right? Let's just talk about things that mattered. Let's take at the upper bracket in Division 4. Let's keep going. Is that it? Yeah, Capistrano Valley Carter, Damian Pass Robles. Now, the other thing I want to mention is Damian Pass Robles, that's another area where there's like 1,000 miles. Paso Robles, no, Damian's going to have to travel 1,000 miles to go to Paso Robles to play an opening round game. How do these brackets make sense, Bob? You tell me.
That is a long, long bus ride.
All the money they got's going to go to get the bus ride up there. It's ridiculous.
It's a couple of tanks of gas at least to get up and back.
Etiwanda Downey, that's like a 60-mile one-way ride. Downey, Etiwanda, look for Downey to win that ball game. Roosevelt, that's in Corona against Corona Del Mar. It's all right. Let's continue on. Let's go to the bottom bracket now. Take a look at the lower side of it. Santiago and Glendora, Murrieta Mesa against Colony, San Juan Hills, Redondo Union, and Palm Springs and Cajon, Bob. Division 5, let's just roll through these now, man. We're up against the clock right now, baby. All right, there's your boy Ventura against Paraclete. I know you like Paraclete, Bob, but that's Paraclete.
That's an old joke from a long time ago.
It's pretty funny if you knew where that came from. Harvard, Westlake, St. Joe, San Jacinto, Paloma Valley. And Bob, who's the last one? Is that La Quinta and Yucaipa?
Yes, Yucaipa against La Quinta.
Got anything on any of these guys?
No, Yucaipa's a really good program. Yucaipa's been a good program for a while now. I think Yucaipa's got a real good chance here. I know they're the bottom part of the top of the bracket.
And Beast Mode works out with those guys, too.
I love it. Yucaipa and Paraclete.
Paraclete, my brother. Let's go to Division 6
Would be a great
now.
semifinal match.
We got to roll, baby. Come on now. Norte Vista, Bishop Diego, Summit, San Marino, Sonora, Saugus, St. Paul, West Torrance.
St. Paul, West Torrance. West Torrance had a 4-game losing streak this year. They ended the season on a 4-game winning streak.
Right on, baby.
Look for West Torrance to make some hay in Division 6.
That's what it's all about. Maricosta, Center Valley, Canyon Country against San Gorgonio. That's a weird one. That's another 80-mile one-way trip. Elsinore, Fountain Valley, and Golden Valley in Napomo. All right, let's take a break real quick. Randy Rosenbloom is going to get you caught up on the city section, right? Possibly?
The city football playoffs start this week, but let's talk about some of the teams that got there with big wins last week. Fairfax wins the Western League over Venice, slowing down that very strong Gondolier offense. Lions win it 20-14. Great job by Shane Cox, the head coach of Fairfax. Arleta 56, Verdugo Hills 41. The Mustangs unbeaten in the East Valley League. A great turnaround for Bill Cohn's team. Southgate 55, Southeast 33 in the rivalry. Southgate is the Eastern League champions. Technically, they're the co-champs, but they beat the other team, Garfield, when they're met up head-to-head, 49-48. In the Marine League, Carson too strong for Banning in that huge rivalry game, 55-7. It was a running clock throughout the second half. The former Banning player, the transfer Sultan Moala, 2 touchdowns, 1 on offense, 1 on defense. The one on defense was a pick 6. All right, here is the Open Division and their top 4 seeds. Now, these teams won't play for another week. The Open Division has a week off. Narbonne, the 3-time defending champion, ranked number 1. Crenshaw, number 2. They figured a hook up in the end, but we'll see. Carson playing well, another Marine League school, and Fairfax, number 4. San Fernando has a great running attack. They average 312 yards on the ground per game, led by Kyle Bryan and Trevor Gill, both over 1,000 yards. That's why they're seeded number 1. There's Southgate at number 2, Palisades, a little bit under the radar at number 3, and Garfield, number 4. In Division 2, Eagle Rock's had a fabulous season. They've won 9 out of their 10 games. They win the Northern League going undefeated. That's why they're ranked number 1. Huntington Park is number 2. Reseda, which went to the Division III finals last year, is number 3 in D2 this year. In Cleveland, a much improved team out of the Valley, is number 4. In Division III, Santee's ranked number 1. They rush for 371 yards per game. Marshall, the Barristers, number 2. Locke, with 5 shutouts, is seeded number 3. And Torres, led by the gifted running back Daquan Gilmore, averages 16 yards a carry. He's rushed for 2,117 yards and 30 touchdowns. All right, what are the games that I think will be very competitive this first week in D1? Of course, you got that 8-9 game. Jefferson traveling to Arleta. Jefferson may have a little bit more talent. Arleta's got the great running back in E.J. Gable. I kind of like Jefferson here. And Westchester at number 7, more talent than Grant, although I love Adrian Beeks, the physical running quarterback of the Grant Lancers. He's a junior. Franklin at Reseda in Division II. This is an interesting game. This was the championship game of D3 last year when Franklin won. But Reseda has Jelani Ellison back. Reseda will win this football game. And Southeast at View Park is a beauty in D2. I think View Park has a few more athletes and should win the game, but that'll be highly entertaining. And in D3, Contreras at Monroe. Monroe's got Angel Martinez, who scored 5 touchdowns over the last couple weeks, kind of like Monroe there. Legacy doesn't have a shot against Marshall. Daniel Soto makes Marshall a threat all through the tournament. The 8-man has its football playoffs. They start with the semifinals because there's only 4 teams in the tournament. Number 4, North Valley Military Institute at Animo Robinson, led by quarterback Alexander Zaragoza. Animo Robinson is just too good. And the number 3, number 2 game is Bright Star at Sherman Oaks. Sherman Oaks will win it. They got a great running back in Jordan Lenhart. In fact, Sherman Oaks CES and Animo Robinson played at the beginning of the year, and Animo Robinson won the game 36-6. Sherman Oaks is much improved. The second go-around could be mighty, mighty interesting. It's a great time of the year. Playoffs are beginning. Excitement in the LA City section. Now let's go back to a couple lovable guys in Rich Estrella and Mr. Bob Gibson.
Right on. Thank you very much, Randy. Good report, man. Looking forward to next week's, man.
Mister there.
Oh, it's all right. You're Mr. Gibson, man. All right, we got to blow through the rest of the brackets. Let's go. Where do we leave off at? Number 7, I believe?
Yeah, we're in Division 7 now. We're all the way
go,
up to
Bob,
7.
go. You're on the clock.
I like Tustin Burbank at the top there. Tustin lost 2 of 3. They got a little chip on their shoulder. They're going to want to make some noise in this bracket. And then when we go to the bottom,
lower bracket,
South Hills Pacifica, this should play out pretty well. El Medino and El Segundo. El Segundo, their only 2 losses were both in league to Lawndale and Culver City.
And Lawndale got screwed in the seedings. Continue.
So 2 8-2 teams in the bottom there. I like that. I like when 2 8-2 teams match up in round 1. Somebody's going to go home awfully disappointed out of round 1 in that one.
Really do?
Big time. D8, Rio Mesa 10-0 at the top, and Silverado at the bottom is the top seed at 9-1.
You can slow down, Bob.
Slow it down just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm lost my notes here, man.
Kaiser's the team to look for. The number 2 team out of the Sunkist League. Kaiser and San Dimas in round 1. 2 7-3 teams. I think everybody went 7-3 this year.
Yeah, there was a
really
lot of well, they're like the NFL. They're like parity in high school football.
Everybody,
I do too.
Everybody went 7-3.
There we go. That's the bottom of Division 8. All right, Bob. Thank you very much.
Anybody there you want to talk about?
That was Bobby Gibbs. I'm still looking through my notes. Sunny Hills, Garden Grove. I'm really happy to see Sunny Hills in the playoffs. It's been a long time for those guys. Garden Grove. They won a CI championship 2-3 years ago. They went back-to-back with Willie Puga and all those guys.
Yep, right. When Willie Puga took over the program, that was quite a run for Garden Grove.
Now that Northview Milliken, those are 2 wrestling schools. Northview and Milliken are like killer with wrestling and football. And maybe not so much. Northview used to be pretty good.
Northview's got a great
they won some CIF championships, but I'm just telling you, if that was a wrestling gig, I'd go to see that. All right. And is that where we're at right now? Okay, that's it for now.
D9, I only wanted to mention one. Cypress, 3-2.
Mention it.
The Empire League was crazy this year. The Empire League, Pacifica, Valencia, and Tustin finished in the top 3. Cypress had to settle for an at-large at 7-3 in Division 9. So watch out for Cypress.
Bob, you're making it all up.
That's it.
He's making it up. Bob doesn't know anything. He's out of his mind right now.
Mayfair, the other team.
All right, real quick, the nation's top 10, real quick. Modern day Corona Centennial moves up because your boys at IFG Academy lost 2 games, Bob. They're out. They're gone, baby.
I love this.
Modern day Corona.
National
Farrakhan's
championship
Boston,
game.
number
Modern day
4.
Centennial.
And look at Orange County Bob. He's at number 13 this week.
Moving up.
All right, that it?
Moving
How much
up.
time we got?
That's
All right,
it.
that's it, Bob.
Wrap
We
it.
ran out of time, man. On behalf of Bob Gibson, I think, right?
Get out to a playoff
And the
game.
crew.
That's me.
Rich Estrella saying so long here from your friends at the SoCal Prep Report.